Mike's Daily Podcast.
Welcome to the show that is entitled Mike's Daily Podcast. Guess who I am?
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I'm Mike Matthews. It's episode 2743. It's Mike Matthews Podcast, and like I've been doing since 1990. No, wait, not that far back. 9. Okay, that's fine. We'll end the song with that number. 2008. Late.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And here we are. 2,743 FF episodes later. And the show,
Mike's
which I've mentioned
Daily
previously.
Podcast.
Well.
Yeah.
Well. 3 holes in the ground. SpaceX executives are worried that Elon Musk was on drugs during cringeworthy all-hands meeting, according to the Wall Street Journal. They are worrying about his drug use. At SpaceX, the outlet, because everything's got to have an X in his company, I guess, since Twitter became that last year. The outlet reported execs privately worried that Musk was high during an unhinged staff meeting. That's with SpaceX, and Musk was an hour late and rambled for 14 minutes before SpaceX's president took over.
It's pretty interesting.
He arrived nearly an hour late, slurring his words. Look, I do a podcast. That might happen from time to time, so that's okay.
Matthews News.
Oh, wait, I'm not a gazillionaire. Never mind. That's not okay. It reported that Musk was unusually incoherent when he took the stage in front of his SpaceX employees to discuss the development of the company's Bill Falcon rocket prototype, with one executive describing the event to the outlet as nonsensical, unhinged, and cringeworthy. And the president, Gwynne Shotwell. Hey, that's a good name for a SpaceX company. Shotwell.
And here's today's podcast picture.
We shot that spaceship right up to the moon. Well, we shot it well. The podcast picture is of the beautiful town. Well, it's not a town. It is an area known as Jack London Square.
Baloney.
And there are boats on the water, which I enjoy seeing. Oh, and off in the distance is San Francisco. And it's a cool picture that you can see at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Musk's drug use. I had not known about this, which includes LSD, cocaine, ecstasy, ketamine, according to people familiar with the matter, is at the center of an extensive new report. Oh, the late great Basil the Boxer. He never took ketamine. He was never even at a kennel. I forewent kennels and usually took him with me, or had a good friend watch him and walk him. That's the best way to go, unless you have a super duper kennel that you love taking your dog to. That will take them out for walks, have them socialize with their fellow dogs. That's always excellent. And if they feed them well, of course, that usually costs a lot. But so this a report from the Journal that details how executives at several of the billionaire's companies have struggled to manage his substance abuse and erratic behavior, which could jeopardize at SpaceX, where illicit drug use could jeopardize the billions of dollars of government contracts enjoyed by the defense contractor due to federal regulations. The Journal reports of Musk's drug use put at risk nearly $1 trillion in assets held by investors, about 13,000 jobs, and the future of the U.S. space program.
For your entertainment, the one, the only, Mike Matthews!
Through MSN.com. The other interesting news today, the New York Times published an editorial openly speculating about Taylor Swift's sexuality. It wasn't the first time the topic of is she or isn't she has been raised online, but it is the first time a mainstream publication has done such a prominent piece on the question. People described as associates of the singer expressed frustration with the article to CNN, while not specifically denying its claims, as one person described by CNN as close to the situation anonymously told the outlet, because of her massive success in this moment, there is a Taylor-shaped hole in people's ethics. Okay. What? This article wouldn't have been allowed to be written about Shawn Mendes. Shawn Mendes, for those of you who don't know, got popular on a long defunct platform, social media platform known as Vine.
Wine.
Well, I like it.
The whiny white man wine list.
And it was like it was the precursor to Snap and then TikTok, basically.
And now, a big thanks to our sponsor.
And Sing, and people went, ooh, he's amazing, and he got a record contract, and he had to hit Stitches. I'll be needing stitches. Not that snitches need stitches, but I'll be needing stitches. Better than he can. Oh, he's had a lot. You'd be surprised. If you look up his discography, he's had a lot of big hit songs. And then he dated for quite a while and did a song called Señorita with the lady that I can't think of at the moment. She also did Havana.
What in the world was that about?
Okay, her song, I can't think of her at the moment. Shawn Mendes. I'm thinking of Sergio Mendes because they're not related. I don't think. Sergio Mendes, he was the big kind of Latin jazz instrumentalist who then would hire singers who then sang songs that became huge hits for him.
Right? God.
Alibis was the one I remember. I know your alibis are watertight and the way you want to feel tonight, but I know you're slipping away from me.
Right?
Camila Cabello. Gosh, dang, that took a while.
Blood and Loco.
Sometimes I can't access everything as quickly as I would like.
But if you get offended, that's the way the cookie crumbles. No.
Caffeine is the only thing I'm on at the moment, and it's not really doing that much for me. What was the other thing? Gosh, it was at that time all these ballads came out in the early 80s. There was On the Wings of Love for Jeffrey Osborne.
Mike's Scavenger Hunt.
There was that Lost, living inside myself, living inside this shell. That guy from Canada, I can't think of his name either at the moment. Gosh. Now, there's a guy on YouTube who said that he used to be in a band that would play at weddings. As we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in Podcastro Valleyton, the last place on earth. Yes, Sergio Mendes, Brazilian musician.
MTV News. You hear it first.
Mike's absolutely useless review. Mike ripped someone a new one.
Gosh, he's playing all over the place in February. He's back on it in February.
The Myclopedia Insanity.
Let's see, his song, so easy to access. Mas Que Nada, and the Black Keys redid that later with him. Never gonna let you go. That's the one. Gonna hold you in my arms forever. That song apparently changes keys so many times. It is really difficult. If you're trying to, you think, oh, it's an easy ballad. No. There's so many changes in it. It's kind of a difficult, it is a difficult song to play. All right. What about, well, whatever. That's the latest about Taylor. She is huge at the moment. Yeah, so people, an article like this wouldn't be allowed to be written about Shawn Mendes, or Sergio Mendes for that matter, or any male artist whose sexuality has been questioned by fans. Which leads us to Barry Manilow, who also has a story where he recalls how it was a burden to keep his sexuality a secret. This according to People magazine. This came out today. He struggled with some of the tougher aspects of being in the public eye over the years. Oh, he just did an interview with The Hollywood Reporter. He is 80 years old, and he opened up about the burden of keeping his sexuality private before he came out as gay in a People magazine story. It was a cover story in 2017. He waited till 2017. I didn't want my career to go away, he said. And that's why a lot of people over the years kept it in the closet. I'm grateful for it, but it was a burden to keep it quiet. I was always worried every interview they're going to ask me whether I'm gay or not. Nobody ever did, by the way, interestingly. That is interesting to me. Because there he was so popular in the 70s and the 80s. Giant. If you go back and look, it was interesting because towards the end, he was still having hits in about the early to mid 80s. He was starting to fizzle out, but he would still put out these dance songs. You listen to it, you go, what? Is this a song that was included in the movie Rocky? It's got that kind of Survivor feel to it. This I forget which song I'm thinking of, but it wasn't a huge hit. Not like Mandy. That was all over the radio. Constantly. And the Copacabana song. So, huge guy, massive, and nobody ever asked him. I mean, that maybe tells you a little bit about the media in the 70s and 80s. Well, he says up until recently, the pop legend recalled having an exchange with Clive Davis, who came out as bisexual in 2013. Clive Davis, who discovered Whitney Houston, Led Zeppelin, helped propel their careers, a myriad of artists. And he apparently told Barry about the pitfalls about coming out as a celebrity. He said, Elton John came out as bisexual. No artist should ever do that. It'll hurt your career. And it did hurt Elton for quite a while, Manilow recalled. So what is also interesting is there was a country singer by the name of Chely Wright. I've done quite a few interviews with her before she came out. And she even had a huge single on the country charts, went to number 1, called Single White Female. And she kept it quiet for quite a long time. And then she finally came out about it and did a documentary about the backlash, about what happened once she did. But she is an interesting woman. She is very business savvy in other ways. Apparently, she was really good with the stock market and investing her money. And a total healthy, I would say health nut in that. But she's a bicyclist. I know she used to bicycle all around Nashville at night. I remember hearing stories about just, she was like a fitness guru type. So, don't know what she's doing lately, but she had an amazing voice. Hope she's still singing and writing songs. But yes, that is some interesting news right off the top there with Mike's Daily Podcast. Here in Podcaster Valley, the only podcast that podcasts from Podcaster Valley and Café Anyway. And speaking of songs, we'll have a couple songs we'll get to with the segment, the Mike Matthews New Tunes Feud. Some new songs to play for you.
News Random.
And we also had this interesting commentary that came to us at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. It says, the 2024 election cycle starts now. Yes, it has started. The day of the three kings showing up, that's called the day of the Epiphany. That was on the 6th. So as of that moment, we basically are done with the holiday season. Some of you may keep it going. I finally saw a pink Christmas tree, but it was sitting on the sidewalk, getting ready to be turned into mulch, which you can do, by the way, in Podcaster Valley. They're turning Christmas trees into mulch for the next 2 weeks, I think. But a guy by the name of Hugh Hewitt, he said, at the top of the ballot of an election day next fall, American voters will likely have to choose between President Biden and former President Trump. That matchup is not inevitable, it's just very likely. If indeed the Biden-Trump rematch is the marquee event, the outline of what will drive voters making that choice is already clear. The election is going to be marked by 3 great divides. First, Hugh says, I'd point to irascibility versus infirmity. Some subset of voters are simply not up for another 4 years of President Trump's combativeness. And with President Biden, another set see a man who has declined too much. That is one thing they really push on the right. He's sick. He's old. He's fallen apart. And then you look at Trump, who is not like 10 years younger, 20 years younger. He's just a couple years younger. Oh, but he's a different type of guy. He's gonna live forever. And then you go and look at all the burgers and the pizzas and whatever other unhealthy things he eats. So that argument of healthy versus unhealthy versus no, I don't see that. That word does not hold any water. A second chasm separates the starkly different approaches of Biden and Trump on issues of national security, especially regarding the use of force and the need to secure the nation's border. That is definitely going to be...
Which is a very good thing.
...big on Biden's...
Which is a very, very good thing.
It's not going to be... He's not going to be able to clear that up easily. And he has not done a good job. It is really bad down there right now. And it has been for the past couple of years. But the biggest divide, Hugh says, is not between Trump and Biden, but involves Trump alone and how voters view him. Some see him as a threat to the republic. Hugh says, I think that's nuts, but some people do. Welcome to the 2024 presidential election cycle.
Wrong,
he says. And in another commentary from Carol Platt-Levow, she says that the Harvard president, Claudine Gay, has resigned despite the board of fellow support and behind-the-scenes lobbying by Barack Obama. I did not know about that. I don't know how much lobbying he actually did, but not only did she disgrace herself in congressional testimony by failing to condemn calls for Jewish genocide on campus, but Claudine Gay was credibly accused of more than 40 instances of academic plagiarism. Along with Gay herself, the scandal's greatest victims are elite education and the DEI movement, diversity, equity, inclusivity movement. But the resignation is too little, too late.
What's the cliche of the week? What's the cliche of the week? What's the cliche of the week? What's the cliche of the week?
So, Gay was elected by Harvard's president of Harvard because of her immutable characteristics. And Carol points out that was specifically her sex and her skin color.
What's the cliche of the week? What's the cliche of the week? What's the cliche of the week? What's the cliche of the week?
And Harvard's drama became a microcosm of the decay and corruption that DEI has imposed on many of our greatest institutions. Gay may be gone, but the lessons Americans learned will linger. Harvard is not worth the money, folks. Put the money elsewhere. Put the money in a university that had... Now, I went to a university whose chancellor got pulled over because she had a little too much wine one evening. And that was the big scandal. It didn't come down to what she believed or how she acted or how she got the job or if she had any plagiarism involved in her past. None of that came up. But I remember a lot of people... I think she was the first female chancellor that we had at UCSB. This was in the late 80s, early 90s, and it was tough for her. But gosh, Gay really messed it up. And it just makes you go, why? Why are universities, why do they have these massive tuitions? Why are students going into debt at the levels that they are? Why are we paying so much for university? I don't think going to university is bad, but with these schools, it is. It is not worth the price of admission. Outside a Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Moncton, the last place on Earth. Look who's here. Hello, McMatthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. I have snow globes. Excellent. Oh, this is a very nice snow globe here. Buy it, Mike Matthews, buy it. I'm going to not buy it at the moment. Maybe I'll put in for layaway like everybody else is doing these days, and then acquire the snow globe that way. Yeah, okay, whatever, Mike Matthews. Just buy it. Buy the snow globe. I don't like this pressure on me to buy a snow globe. Look who else is here.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, you look parched. Have a little drink there.
Oh, thank you. Wait a minute. I didn't know there was leftover coquito that my lovely lady friend made. Yum.
Yeah, it's pretty good there.
Yeah, excellent. Do you know that? And from Puerto Rico. I said that perfectly. Look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman.
And this is John Deere, the engineer. I would recommend not buying the snow globes because they are explosive.
Uh-huh. Much like this podcast when I start talking about Claudine Gay. But that's okay. We're done talking about Claudine Gay and the border wall. And you've heard that over and over.
The Newsbleed section. Yo, the mic tip.
Processing all these people through the border, and then they get shipped by bus to the sanctioned cities. That became a bad name. Oh, we're a sanctioned city. A sanctuary city, not a sanctioned city. Well, the sanctuary cities are getting sanctioned. Or the bus drivers bringing the people to the sanctuary cities are getting sanctioned. Somehow this is getting confusing. So I will now say that is a whole mess, as you've probably heard. So let's get away from messes and get to a time in radio eons ago where yours truly was doing this thing called K-Hey. It was a country radio station. And we had some interesting times there at nighttime on the radio. And here's a little bit of that. We're going back to not 20 years, but maybe this is almost 25 years ago to this show that I was doing called the K-Hey Santa Fe Cafe.
The preview on 100.7 KHAY, where you hear the new country before even the country hears it, and you get to call in with your reaction.
This is a segment called the New Country Preview. We would play a little bit of a new country song. Oh, no, we would play the whole song. Unlike this show where we do the Mike Matthews New Tunes Feud and we have to only play a little bit of the song. Otherwise, we get dinged by YouTube. No, this is the New Country Preview. And every night at 9 o'clock, I would play a brand new song. Sometimes I wouldn't have any songs and I'd have to find something, dig something up. I'd play something old and say it was new. No, wait, I don't remember ever. I don't think I did that, but I think I had to go. Somebody had a new Christmas album somewhere, so maybe you would debut a new Christmas song. And that was kind of foolish because the Christmas song, that's a temporary thing. It's a December thing, and then by January, everybody's moving on. And I don't want to hear Christmas music in January. So here is a little bit of the New Country Preview that I did for 11 years.
And you get to win Joe Diffie's Twice Upon a Time only if you are the 50th vote at 656 or 650 KHAY. And tell me, will Kevin Sharp's If She Only Knew be a hit? Or will it be squashed like a mosquito on the back of a sweating cowboy's neck? If you see him, if you see her, while you're calling in with your vote on K-Hey. K-Hey, will it be a hit?
Oh, yeah.
Your vote 21, why will it be a hit?
I like his voice, and I think the melody was really nice.
That is Kevin Sharp and a song called If She Only Knew. And it looks like no one is voting against it tonight. Everyone seems to like it, but people can still vote at 656 or 650 KHAY. And what is your name?
Sarah.
Sarah, where are you calling from? Sarah, vote number 50 is going to win the Joe Diffie CD. Here is Pam Tillis, I Said a Prayer on KHAY.
I wonder if the song won or not. Pam Tillis used to be really popular in country music. I don't remember this song, though. She was the daughter of Mel Tillis. Wow, there's a lot of sound effects here on the radio.
It's definitely some kind of chronic event.
Preview.
The preview is brought to you by the Pet Barn, your friendly neighborhood pet experts with locations in Oxnard, Santa Barbara, Ventura, and Thousand Oaks. Matt Michaels inside the preview room, and we got vote number 50 on the phone. It is Sarah calling all the way from Port Hueneme. Hello, Sarah.
Hi.
What's your opinion of Kevin Sharp's If She Only Knew?
I would buy it, definitely.
What'd you like about it?
I liked his voice, I liked the rhythm, I liked everything about the song.
Okay. And that is from an upcoming album from Kevin Sharp. We haven't heard from him since his debut. So congratulations, you've got Joe Diffie's CD, Twice Upon a Time. And if people didn't get to get their reaction, they can call the KHAY Preview response line at 642-8595, extension 555. Now the results of our preview poll tonight, Sarah. Will Kevin Sharp's If She Only Knew be a hit or be squashed like a mosquito on the back of a sweating cowboy's neck? Of all the people listening, 0% said that it would be squashed like a mosquito on the back of a sweating cowboy's neck, but 100.7% said it will be a...
Definitely buy it.
hit!
Well, it wasn't a hit. Kevin Sharp got known because he did a country version of Nobody Knows It But Me. That song, that was not Babyface.
Congratulations out to Kevin Sharp. He will be back on Friday night at 9 o'clock for the Friday Night Fight during the preview, where we put up all the preview winners from the past week up against each other. Congratulations out to you, Sarah. Enjoy your new Joe Diffie CD.
I will.
What station's playing Martina McBride's A Broken Wing?
Hey.
Oh, it was Babyface. Bubbyface?
Mostly cloudy tonight, lows in the 50s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny by afternoon, highs in the 70s. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy with local drizzle and fog. Thursday, partly cloudy by afternoon. 64 now in Montecito, 56 in Camarillo, 62 in Ventura at Continuous New Country, with the preview winner from last night, Steve Warner, Road Trippin'.
Steve Warner. No, it was the Tony Rich Project. That's right. Tony Rich sang it. Babyface wrote it. That's why people always say it's Babyface. No. The Tony Rich Project from 1996. Now, that was about 25 years ago. Now let's go back 30 years ago, like 32 years ago, to the wonderful station Y97, long since gone. It was called Most Music Y97. It had been around for, I think, about 7 years at this point, and I was on there in my 20s.
50-minute music hours, hour after hour, day after day, on Most Music Y97.
En Vogue.
You're never gonna get it. Not this time.
From the Bay Area.
Music 197 with En Vogue and My Lovin'. Good afternoon, Mike Matthews with you on this Sunday afternoon. Congratulations out to Mia Tate of Santa Barbara, winner of a trip to the Sandals Resort in Jamaica. Mia will enjoy the couples-only all-inclusive vacation and even see Howard Jones in concert. Good job, Mia. Jamaica from your destination station, Y97.
Music Y97.
I've got to hear Abby's voice. Most Music 197, brand new music from Stacey Earle and Slowly on 197. And for all you horse lovers, there's a festival in the park going on right now. Yeah, featuring equestrian demonstrations, food, music, and more at the Tapo Canyon Park. It'll be going on until 6 p.m. tonight if you want to go out and see some neat horses. Yeah! Bad horse worst impersonation. Bryan Adams, though, he's not impersonated. He just can't stop this thing. He's stuck.
Bryan Adams, he was huge at that point with his album, Waking Up the Neighbors, that had Everything I Do It For You, and that song. And do I have to say the words? Oh, one of my favorites. Thought I died and gone to heaven. And apparently he is touring now and doing that album from start to end. And he says, the one thing I remember about that album is I was able to kill a lot of mice at the studio. Okay, Brian, thank you. That's scary. He's a mouse catcher. He's a cat. Bryan Adams is a cat. Is what we learned from that. And that was the segment, Let's Go Back with Matthews.
Let's go back with Matthews.
Oh my gosh.
The bottom of the chart.
Pretty good songs that never made it on the radio because people didn't think they were worth it. But you know what? They come back up and people start playing them, and it's like, oh, where'd that come from?
Now, the Mike Matthews New Tunes Feud.
Oh, yeah.
Sent to me, MikesDailyPodcast at gmail.com, is a group of, let's see, they don't have a name, the name of this group. Well, you kind of need a name. Astrid Sand is the name. A Danish, London-based composer and viola player. Throughout her acclaimed discography, Astrid has been carefully crafting different moods through electronic and acoustic instrumental endeavors. And here is a song from her album that is entitled, what is this album called? Wow. Great Doubt. There we go. Okay. I love clicking on things and suddenly they're not there. And here is a song from the album that is entitled Almost. Astrid Sand. S-O-N-N-E. Maybe that's Zone? I'm not sure, but there's a little bit of her song called Almost. And then song number 2, If Things Click and Open Correctly, is from Brent Amaker. Brent Amaker and the Rodeo is the name of this band. Since forming his Seattle-based outfit, Brent Amaker and the Rodeo, in 2005, Amaker has reveled in an idiosyncratic style that doesn't fit into preordained categories. He's a country singer whose band is known for dressing in matching black cowboy outfits. Yet Amaker is more inspired by art rock icons like Devo and David Bowie than the usual country mainstays. A Seattleite since 1997, he's a Southerner by birth, yet Southern crowds are frequently puzzled by his ambitious stage show. Okay, here is a little bit of Brent Amaker and a song called Take It by the Horns.
Yes, sir. Are you ready to rise up to the top? I won't hold your hand or tell you how it's done. If you want it bad enough, it'll surely come. Life ain't that hard. Get up out of bed. Do something smart. You're gonna get it.
Brent Amaker from Seattle, Washington, and a little bit of his song called Take It by the Horns. Okay, and our last song is from The Umbrellas. Their debut album was one of the surprise hits of an otherwise grim 2021, channeling solid gold influences like the Pastels, Comet Gain, Orange Juice, and the Eilers set. They represent the fertile San Francisco Bay Area scene at its most pop-tastic, following on 3 sell-out pressings of their debut album and tours. So here is a little bit of their song called 3 Cheers from the album of the same... Oh, no, Fairweather Friend is the name of the album. 3 Cheers from The Umbrellas. A little bit of that.
It's how it ought to be. to the brim, scoffing scofflaws with pointed limbs, lining up for the guillotine, rolling trees of power.
The Umbrellas there. I gotta fade it out because I'll get dinged by YouTube. 3 Cheers, the name of that one. So which one did you like better? Astrid Zone, the Brett Amaker and the Rodeo, or the Umbrellas? Let me know at this phone number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
Will you shut ups? Liberty Nation Freedom Phone for All.
First of all, I just want to thank everyone for joining us here on this show. This is great.
And with more ways to reach me, it is A-Frame. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I will try to keep it daily. Sometimes I get interrupted, as you know, but since I'm doing this all myself, so thank you for taking a little pity on me when I do miss a show. I don't know if you're actually sitting there with your arms folded and your foot tapping, going, where's Mike's latest podcast? But I'm trying, to quote Trace Adkins. And now as I'm starting to remember other people's singer names, Camila Cabello, sorry I forgot your name, and Sergio Mendes, and don't forget Herb Alpert, because Herb Alpert also... He was also the instrumentalist guy that would sometimes do songs with actual singing in it, actual lyrics. I need your love, that kind of thing. And then suddenly there was Janet Jackson doing Diamonds that was in the mid-'80s with Terry... I better stop because I can't think of people's names now. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. There you go. I just rewatched that Diamonds video that Herb Alpert did. Watch it on YouTube. It is the most bizarre thing. There's like a DJ named Bucky. And now we've got Bucky's all over the nation that are huge. Those massive Walmart type places that are bigger than Walmart. They're like the biggest gas station food market type place. And gas is cheap there. And they've got amazing pulled pork, I am told. And other snacks and interesting items and T-shirts, and people walk around with their Bucky shirts. But back then, Herb Alpert in the mid-'80s came out with that song, Diamonds, with Janet Jackson on vocals and in him playing trumpet. But all that stuff, he played trumpet so sparsely versus his stuff that he did with the Tijuana Brass Band, which my dad had. I know he had at least one album of that group somewhere. So, that's the end of this podcast. Here's Ariel with the end part now.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!